This case have been very, very hard for the last going on 4 years. We have sat down with Jerry Demons. He was the chief of the sheriff department at the time. He have given us his word that he never came to honor. We never got the answers that was rightfully due. Well, we give you a little back tell of the story. I don't want to go too deep because it is very, very heartbreaking, because we understand that we don't have the right affordabilities to get justice as black people in this society right now. Definitely when it's dealing with the police department. Allegedly, they said that he was in the act of breaking into a vehicle, which everybody that was with him, they dropped the charge and said we had the wrong people. Ran them in the woods. As black men, we're taunted by police now. We don't want to sit and wait on them to talk to us. We want to run away from them. Get as far away as we can without being killed. Unfortunately, that night when he decided to run away, he didn't know that they was going to kill him that night. And the reason why I say this so candidly that he was murdered is because of all the elements that add up in the case. So allegedly, he ran through the parking lots of Lowe's where we had a helicopter in the air with an infrared beam that discovered where he was at in the woods. But at the same time, this infrared beam that is working to discover where he at, the cameras on the helicopter is not working that night. So they say. And if anybody know anything about being in the helicopter, when that infrared beam work, that camera work. They both go together. So all of a sudden, it's not working. And he's chased in the woods. They have dogs. They release the dogs. The next thing we know is that he's dead in the lake. And for 2 days, they covered that lake. They did not allow nobody to come near that lake. I guess that was giving the body time to decompose or whatever they had to do while that nighttime while he sat in that lake. The helicopter never, they said, I skipped one part, they said once he got in the lake, the helicopter made a pass, they seen him. And then the helicopter could not hold his hover, which we know that to be a lie. The helicopter hold his hover as long as it need to be. So they say the helicopter rolled back around and tried to just keep itself balanced. And at the time the young man went under the water, they never seen him again. For 2 days he was in the lake. We talked to Jerry Demons again. Jerry Demons assured that we would have full transparency to this case. We didn't get transparency, we didn't get nothing. All we know that the other two gentlemen that they said they was gonna charge with a crime was released without no charges. So to this day, Jerry Demons, who is our mayor, who do have black boys, never answered the question of what happened to our black boy. And till this day, we the people in Orlando City have allowed them to just give us their report without making them give us detail for detail. It is time for us to stop allowing the police to use their narrative to fit their crime. Until we get into a position where we really sick and tired. I really didn't want to be here because at the end of the day, the cameras are flashing, but nobody came to hear our story. Nobody came to put the fire to the city. You know, once this over with, we'll probably never hear from y'all again. Those that got the power to keep making noise, to keep making traction. Because we just want to know what happened to the helicopter, the camera in the helicopter that night. We want to know why we ain't getting true transparency. These are the things that you don't have the privilege to know what they said happened that night. And this is why we need transparency about this case. We need the sheriff department to be upfront and honest. Because right now, they're murderers. They watched the young man die before their eyes. Then they let his body stay in that lake for 2 days, told us that we couldn't go near the lake. On the third day, when they decided to say, we're going to find his body for the family, because me and her was not giving up going to that lake. I told her after the first day, I'm from South Florida. I know where police put bodies in lakes where alligators are at. So I say, he's in that lake. and she didn't understand what I was saying. And I stayed around that lake, and every time we go by that lake, it's a police monitoring the lake, sitting overnight with their lights on at the lake, giving time for the body to do what it do. Not to only be an insult, we went to the coroner, and they would not allow us to see the body, not to even identify him. They came with a picture and say, is this him? We went to the funeral home. They would not allow us to see his body. So this whole case have been helped by the city, people that's inside the city, to cover up what's going on. The dogs, my theory from South Florida, the dogs attacked him in the lake, or either out of the lake, he died, they throw him in the lake, and now we use that he drowned. Because the helicopter, if the infrared beam working, the camera is working. So we don't get no answers. The people, you don't know this was happening. All you seen in the news media was, it was a young man that was breaking in cars, and he jumped in the lake and he drowned. This guy could drown, this guy could swim backwards, frontwards, side to side. So this is the problem. And this is why I say, I'm looking at Black Lives Matter. This is 2021. Why are we having Black Lives Matter in America? It is a problem. And we need to really, really deal with the elephant in the room. Listen, I'm going to say this and I'm going to leave. And I'm talking to, and this is no discrimination, nothing against anybody of this culture that I'm going to speak on. Blacks and whites been in this country for years. We've been arguing back and forth for years, calling each other names for years. But why right now did they just pass a bill for the Asians to be protected when we are American citizens and we weren't protected from each other? We got to wake up. We got to wake up as a people. We got to understand that this stuff that is going on, it's not just black people saying, why are y'all killing us? It's one too many people. Everybody had a gun. Everybody was a threat. Everybody needed to die that day. Come on, people. America, we got the power as the people. But if we divide ourselves, they keep the power. And that's what they do. They feed us media rhetoric to keep us divided so we don't see what they're doing. Open your eyes, people. We are Americans. Stand together or we'll watch everything go and crumbles sooner or later.
What do we want?